What's going on, guys? Today I'm bringing you another upper body workout. This one is incredibly simple yet difficult, so try it out and you will be surprised. We're starting off with the incline close grip pause bench, which if you saw my recent video on developing the upper chest, you'll know exactly why I'm doing these. Essentially, the elbow tuck lines up perfectly with the upper chest fibers and the range of motion is increased due to the closer grip. This further stresses the triceps and even provides a superior stretch on the pecs. And what I especially love about this variation is that you get more out of less weight. See, I'm used to Larson pressing 275 and above for reps. It's become my standard volume work. And I must admit, that is extremely mentally exhausting while being hard on recovery. Fatigue accumulation, the joints. Not saying you can't work around this, but let's keep it real. Using intermediate flat numbers, aka 2 plates on the incline, provides a similar training stimulus while biasing the region that most people don't even have, upper chest. And as someone who did a lot of mid and lower chest work over the years, I can tell you for an absolute fact that my upper chest is lacking and I need to get stronger at inclines as a whole. So we're starting with 30 degrees, but over time, we're gonna work up to 45, mash these same loads. And I strongly believe this will make a big difference in my physique, not to mention the immense strength gains that are gonna come from this. Next, we're doing the pull setup, so alternating back and forth. I chose the super wide grip pull-up, which I haven't done since May. Reason being, I was starting to get some serious overuse by not changing the grips, including on lat pull downs. So what do I always tell you guys? You have to rotate the variations. You're not immune to injuries. And although I did not get snapped up, I was super close to it. So I took a few steps back, started using narrow grips, different machines, everything's good. This is the first day back. And I'm very happy because I'm a lot heavier. So 186. And this video, it's the end of the day, so closer to 190 actually. And I'm using basically the same loads that I always do. So I'd say my strength at least maintained, but might have improved a slight bit. I don't really know. Regardless, the upper back is looking amazing and every set was pain-free. So we're back on track. You gotta keep getting stronger at these. The long-term goal is 2 plates for sets of 10, which might sound psychotic considering it's such a difficult exercise, but we never stop. Keep moving forward, setting higher expectations. We're all capable of so much more, and I'm gonna keep proving that to you year after year, and you see the results. Next, we have the seated anterior delt press, 185 for 3 sets of 7 to 8. Very happy with this because what I've found, and you might be similar to me, is that when I do any overhead press variation after inclines, I'm significantly weaker. So about a month ago, I was doing 190 for sets of 5 to 6, which is a small jump, but that was after regular chest work. See, the incline stresses your delts so much, even with a lower angle, that you kind of come in pre-fatigued. So the fact that I can still do a plate and a half indicates that my delts are absolutely coming along, in addition to the triceps, because I exclusively use closer grips, and there's a generalized carryover effect. Anyway, this has become my favorite delt developer. I don't plan on doing any standing overhead pressing for a very long time. In fact, once I can rep 2 plates on this quite easily, which I've done for a triple, last rep being kind of ugly, then I might test the standing version just to find out. But right now, I'm in a bodybuilding phase, and this is a better hypertrophy exercise due to the enhanced stability. The anterior delt gets a better stretch in the bottom, even if you're not touching the clavicles. It's just that you're at an angle, very slight, and you got the pad to press off, so you'll be able to go a little bit heavier and have a much better time with progressive overload, not to mention being easier on the support structures. Next, we got the Ghetto Cable Row. We finally did it. 5 plates. I've been talking about this milestone for months. Remember when 4 was my working weight? Well, we're finally past it. That's the power of consistency, and you know what? I haven't even periodized this. It's just been simple double progression. Adding a few reps here and there, sometimes a 5-10 pound jump. What can I say? Slow and steady wins the race. Now, it's not easy, and I may need to switch to something else because we might be entering a dangerous territory. Not only due to the instability factor, but also the cables possibly snapping. I believe this is literally their weight limit. So I don't feel comfortable adding more weight, meaning I can switch to unilateral variations or do higher repetitions with cleaner form. Because let's keep it real, these reps aren't perfect. There's a little bit of body English, especially on this last set. The first two were rather fine, but it's here where you feel it. I wouldn't say it's super bad form though. So as you can see, sloppy reps right here. You know, it's not going to be perfect because of the strength curve. We're not biasing the length and position. So yeah, I think I milked this row hard enough, but let me know what you guys think. Maybe I can switch to seal rows, other chest supported row variations, or just inverted rows. Lots of ways. But the whole objective is to take out the lower back as much as possible, as well as using the correct arm path to bias the part of the back you want. And over here, I use a 45-degree angle, which is very much a rear delt row. But of course, you're still gonna hit the traps a lot as well. Next, I bring you the chest expander overhead pull apart. This is 5 springs, which is the max that this loads. It's taken me a month and a half to work up to this. When I first started, I couldn't even budge this for 1. So the gains are legit, and I can tell you that this is one of the best exercises for your traps. It also builds tremendous shoulder mobility, and with the overhand grip, you're gonna hit the triceps a little bit more as well. Honestly, a game changer, and now I understand why guys like Fred Roland were so yoked. The chest expander is pretty much tailor-made for naturally enhanced. You really will get thicker, and what's crazy is that all the best old school bodybuilders use chest expanders. What does that say? This isn't a gimmick. You see how much I'm struggling? The springs hit different. There's dimensions. I'm just going to keep getting stronger. So now I'm bringing you the sideways extension. This has become one of my favorite tricep exercises, and it's very freaking hard. Because whenever you go up a spring tension, your reps drop like crazy. So I was doing 4 springs for sets of 12 with the violin extension, and I didn't want to keep repeating that. So I'm like, you know what? I don't care if I'm in the 4 to 5 rep range. Just gonna add a rep at a time, and eventually we're gonna be in a proper zone for hypertrophy. And these are not hard on your recovery either, so you can bang it out in a quick amount of time. This version right here, overhead, hits the long head a bit more through the weighted stretch, though some would argue medial. Either way, the strength curve feels awesome on the elbows, and you're allowed to flare out to the side. And if you're already using an expander, it's a good way to warm up for your final isolation movements. And by the way, I also did some curls with this, in addition to spider curls and preacher curls with my cable machine. But I didn't like the way any of those felt, so I'm not showing you those sets. So I bring you the final superset. We're doing dual row pushdowns and dumbbell alternate curls. This is the variation you should be doing if you don't have access to a spreader bar. So I want to show you that. You don't need crazy equipment. But if you guys are just going to do 1 row, then I would opt for something else. Because the whole point is to get out of internal rotation. You want some shoulder extension, kind of resembling a tricep kickback pushdown hybrid. Arms are coming behind you, getting a maximum squeeze on that long head. Plus, the elbows can flare, which I sound like a broken record, but you don't want them to be overly tucked in. That inhibits the long head from maximally contributing. And it's way harder on the joints. I'm not saying a single rope is dangerous, but it's absolutely inferior if you're trying to hit the back of your arm. So with the dual ropes, you'll find you're a lot weaker. You might have to drop the load by a good 30 pounds, which is not an over-exaggeration. And what's great is that you won't have to compensate by adding so much extra tricep volume right after. You're good with this movement alone for the most part, especially if you superset it with these, which further proves how much the long head gets demolished. You may struggle to get 2 or 3 reps. Alright, here's the last set of curls. You can see the pump has set in. Bicep and shoulder veins are popping out. Not to mention the arms look way bigger. Because they are. In a cold flex state, they're 16.7 inches, which is the biggest they've ever been in my life, including at this weight. Therefore, arms are finally responding by getting away from minimalism and especially listening to powerlifters. The more I train like a bodybuilder, the better results seem to be. And that has been isolation work with correct exercise selection. And this hits the mid-range. Though I've been doing a lot of incline curls recently, which also bias the long head a bit more. I'm mixing it all in, but what's important to recognize is that I'm not cheating, my form is relatively strict, and I'm putting in a high degree of effort, aka training to failure or super close to it. which is not necessary, but for lagging muscle groups, I think it's worth considering, especially on isolations where the recovery demands aren't that high. So I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next workout video.